self-expression. As it always is. There's a lot coming up still. It's been an eye-opening day. And that is a recurring theme. It's just day after day of expansion. Expanding into a new place and just starting to sort of feel comfortable there. And then there's more. There's another limit reached. There's another trigger. And the process happens again. Just this continuous, it's like every time there's an in-breath, that limit is touched, and there's an exhalation and a deep dive with that, a withdrawing, a pulling in. And it's calling for a greater expansion on the next out-breath. It's like a deeper in-breath, a deeper inhalation is creating a deeper exhalation. Like all of this is expanding, both sides, expanding, increasing. I was triggered today, beautifully, wonderfully, always an excellent thing, something that I am truly grateful for anytime that it happens. And it was a lot. It was more than I could make sense of. Immediately, I wanted to understand it. I wanted to see what's happening here. What is this trying to tell me? I wanted to know. I wanted to jump ahead, right? Jump past the pure surrender to the process portion, which is, okay, this is happening now. This is what I'm feeling. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling a sense of wounding. There's fear. And just allowing that to be what it is. The feeling of wounding, the feeling of anxiety, the feeling of fear. And it became slowly clear that it had to do with abandonment. With wanting something, someone, and wanting love. Desiring that. Wanting the love of someone. Just at the base level. And how frightening it can feel, certainly, to the ego, to the mind, to even have that desire. That desire feels dangerous. It feels dangerous to want somebody's love. This is a challenge even to articulate. It's been processed. At this point, there was a lot that happened earlier. But I'm sort of moving back through it in an attempt to express this. The realization that it's not wrong to want that. It's not wrong to have that desire and to let it be a pure desire. To actually celebrate that desire for what it is. To desire to receive love. That is a righteous desire. That's right. It's right to feel that way. Certainly the denial of it doesn't make it go away. No, to wrap that in shame or guilt or other kinds of judgment, it doesn't change it. That's a core desire. And it's connected to this desire of giving love, wanting to give love and to receive love in equal measure. That is right to be desired. Both components of it. And I hadn't been honoring both as much. It's easy to restrict it to just the giving, because that's the portion that's wholly within our control, right? And even to say, oh, I'm giving and receiving love within myself. And absolutely that is a necessary practice, an excellent practice, something that all of self should experience, giving and receiving the love within. But there is a desire for the love of other. There's a desire for love of other than myself. And yes, we're all the same self, that's recognized. But still, we're here. We're here in this dream of form and separation and other. And so there is a desire to experience that. In fact, that's a big part, I feel, of what this dream is about, to experience love from other and for other. This is the only place where other exists. It exists for a reason. That's not a mistake. It's not to trick us. It's for the experience of it, for the delicious experience of it. Because in the separation, we know true connection. We can only know the true connection when I am one self and you are other self. And in the feeling of our separateness, we feel the power of the unification of our hearts. Here, we know true connection by this experience of being one and other, of being different, of being not the all which contains one, but the one that is within the all, and experiencing other ones. Right? It takes two ones, separate ones. If we're all the same one, we can't become two. Does that make sense? We can't have the unity of two, of being two complete ones. We have to be separate individuals. And so it's right to have that experience and to desire not just the feeling of oneness of self and the recognition of the oneness of another, but the combining of the two in the giving of love to another one and the receiving of love from that other one. This is going to be a ramble, of course. I mean, what else would it be? I realized that I had been guarding my heart still. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I want it to be open. I had been guarding my heart, and have been for some time, by telling myself that nothing matters other than my connection with myself. Nothing matters. And that connection is critical. Absolutely. That connection is critical. If I don't have that connection, I'm not embodying my authentic self. And that's a core desire. I want to be me. I want to be me authentically. So a part of that being of me is recognizing there's other desires there. Not denying those. And those desires have more to do with the experience of other, with the experience of shared connection. It's scary to the mind to want things that are not within our control. Not within the control of the mind, not within the control of the physical realm. To want love, to want the experience of being loved, knowing that that can only come about by another's free giving of it, following their selfish desire. And of course, now tapping into the place of permitting that desire to be loved, to be permitting myself to feel it, not putting any caps or restrictions upon it, it makes so much sense. It's, of course, that would be. Of course that comes about. But to the mind, it's not so simple. To the mind, it is a great unknown. To the mind, it's not, of course. It's not obvious. It's a big fat question mark. Because even if we have it now, what about then? What if at some point this giving of love from another, this receiving of the desired love, stops? What if it ceases to be? And then there is this immediate returning to, of course, well, we have the love of self. We have this. We have this. This is all we need. That's what it says. This is all we need, and it immediately diminishes and relegates that freely given love and the desire of it, for it, to this realm of doesn't matter. It puts that divine desire into the closet and shoves it away. It says, not important. Wraps it in all kinds of labels. Unrealistic. Uncontrollable, certainly. Unreasonable, perhaps. And it tucks it away because it's safe there. Because it feels safer not to care, not to open the heart at all, not to let somebody love you. It feels safer not to let someone love you at all than it does to let it happen with the potential that it could come to an end. And so the defense mechanisms within the mind whir into motion. And anytime there is the potential of that threat imagined becoming a reality, again, whether it's actually happening in the present situation or just this imagined potential future that could be the case at some point, And that's all it takes. That's all it takes, is that imagining of it for ego to say, see, it's unsafe. It's unsafe for you to be doing this, for you to be asking for love from another person. That's dangerous. That's not safe. That could get you hurt. That could get you hurt. So why don't we just tamp that back down, lock it away, come back into the safe zone of, well, it never really mattered. Oh, when that's so not true. And that's what I've been admitting to myself and working through. Because if something doesn't matter, then why do you want it? If it doesn't matter, if it means nothing, if you don't care, then you could take it or leave it, right? So where's the desire there? That doesn't sound like desire to me. That sounds pretty limp, pretty apathetic. That's not how creation works. That's not how the heart works. If something is wanted, then it matters. You want it. You care about it. I have a complicated relationship with that word, care, as has been evidenced in the history of this channel. Love is careless, right? Love is reckless. Love is free. Love is uninhibited. Love throws caution to the wind. Love doesn't give a damn about how it's perceived. It loves for the selfish delight of it, but love cares. Love cares deeply. Love loves because it matters to it. It feels good, and that matters. But it sees something that it wants, and it knows. It knows by the power of its longing for that. How much it wants. And if I'm not opening myself to admitting that something matters, I'm not telling the truth. I'm keeping my heart closed. I'm not letting love flow through, desire flow through in the full capacity. Because the truth is, I really fucking want this thing. I want it so much that the thought of losing it I can't pretend it doesn't matter. It's devastating. Utterly. I mean, and that is beautiful. That all illustrates the power of my love, of my desiring. to feel the excruciation of the potential loss of that, that tells me about my desire. That tells me how much I want that. And to deny that portion of it is to leave out a whole section of the spectrum. Spectrum? Ooh, that's a weird word. A whole section of the spectrum of this experience. And I want that side too. I do. I want all of it. Pretending that something I want doesn't matter if it goes away, that's a load of bullshit. It doesn't stop me wanting it. I still want it. And I understand. First of all, that there's nothing wrong with that feeling. It is telling me about my desire, and it is encouraging me to the alignment with it, the realignment with the desire itself. Intensifying it, clarifying it, realizing, oh my God, if this went away, I would fall apart. Would I be okay eventually? Yes, I'm sure that I would. Because everything works out for the best. I know that. I believe that everything works out for the highest good. I would succeed in some form or fashion. But I would not be okay. If this went away, I would not be okay, and that would be okay. The depth of that despair would tell me more about the extent of my passion, the height of my desire, of my love, and encourage me to focus back into that place of knowing that my wanting is right, knowing what my wanting is, knowing it's right, it's righteous, knowing that it is mine, that what I want is mine. It exists, it's real, it belongs to me. And if I'm not admitting how much I care, if I'm not including this other side of the spectrum, then I'm not practicing the fullest version of love. Then there's more of it. There's more of it. And I want the full version. I want the total experience, which means ripping my heart open, putting it out there, giving it freely, knowing it could be rejected at any point, knowing it would crush me for that to happen, and doing it anyway, and accepting if I am crushed, then I am crushed. Because that's what I want. I want to be all in. Nothing kept in reserve. No internal emotional backup plan for how to deal with the potential fallout, loss of this. I don't want a backup plan. I don't want a parachute. I want to plummet. I want to be in this. If I am going to smash on the rocks, then I'll smash on the fucking rocks. That's what I want. I want no backup. I want no reserve. I want no safety measures, no precautions in place. Because that's not total love. If I'm holding something back like that, it's not how my soul loves. I want to be all in. I am all in on this. I don't give up my desire. I want to love completely. I want to give my heart completely. I want to receive a heart completely. And be trembling as we fall together, knowing we did this, we took this leap. It is all or nothing now. There's no going back. There's no safety line. It's not a real leap of faith if there is. That's what we want. That's what we asked for. That's what our souls are craving. I want everything to color the expansiveness of my love, including all of the darker stuff, including the despair, the angst. So I realized that I had been holding back. And that's not me. That's not what I want. I want to give it all. I'm putting in all the chips. And if I bust, I bust. If I'm out, if I go home, out of the game, gambled and lost all of it, I'll be happy with that. I'll be happy with playing all my chips, with playing my hardest, with giving and loving with my entire soul. And if that gets rejected, then I'll let it destroy me. Because nothing real can ever be lost. I know that too. I would be born anew. Bigger, better, bolder, stronger, yet more expansive and free. But every time the heart breaks, there is expansion, yes? Now, I'm not asking for the despair. I'm not asking for the devastation. But here's the reality too. It comes one way or another. Because form fades. So even if there is not a rejection, at some time, there comes an end. Of the experience in form. It continues on, it carries on. It is just a transition. But I am talking about love made tangible. This experience of self and other. And accepting that when that time comes, for the form to transition, that I will feel the full force of that impact. I will feel that loss. And it will wreck me. Because that is a part of this. That is a part of the beauty of this experience. Knowing the intensity of love through the intense grief at the loss of it. Whether that loss is a rejection or a transition. And it is the feminine energy in me that knows the power and the magnificence of that, of the depth. That's depth into that darkness. Because the darker the dark, the brighter the light too. It works both ways. We're expanding the spectrum, both sides of it. That means accepting all of it with greater intensity and knowing that all of that is desired. All of that pain, that anguish, it points to the power of our desire, the power of our love. And that is beautiful. There is clarity gained by that cannot be found any other way. To have those darker hues added to the landscape of desire, to the image of it, that makes it pop. That really makes it pop. Go darker. Oh, I can hear my art teacher in high school now. I was always afraid of it. Going too dark in my darker sections of a drawing. And always it was more contrast. More contrast. Go darker. Make it pop. And that's what we want. We want our desire to pop. We want it to be yet more bold and vivid in its illustration. And that means taking all of the light and all of the dark. of the levity and the buoyancy and all of the density. And embracing it all together. So, my desire matters. It matters to me. That tells me more about the power of it. It tells me more about how big and beautiful it is. It tells me how certain its fulfillment is, too. So I can step into, now, the realm of expectation, because that is faith, that is trust. Expecting the result, not belief, expecting it. My desire is to give and receive love in equal measure and to have no end to that. And I expect that to be the experience. And when the mind is left out of it, I mean, that's just it. It's so pure and simple. That is the way we intend to create. But we're here as blended beings. Spiritual beings having a human experience. Ego is a part of that. It's not meant to die. It is included in this experience. It helps color it. It helps shape it, contour it. It gives contrast and definition. It adds to the elements of this landscape. So, I would be a fool, damned fool, and have been, not to admit to myself that my desire matters and that I know how much it is wanted, not just by the direct experience of it, but by the projected experience of its loss. And I know by the excruciating pain of that, and it is excruciating, just how big and pure and steadfast this stream of wanting is. I know more about wanting it. I know by the anguish experienced in the perceived loss of it that I want this forever. That I never want to lose it. I want it continuously. I want it for all time. I don't want it ever to stop, because the pain of imagining it stopping is so great. That tells me that I don't ever want it to stop. And what a wonderful thing it is to know that. To know with clarity that I want this love. This one. Because that is the subject here. It is the object of my focus in my feeling around. My feeling that if this love, this experience were to come to an end, That is where the devastation occurs. So I know with clarity, I don't want it to end. Ever. Ever. And I know that my wanting of that is right. It feels good to me to know that and to want that. And to deliver that through feeling to the universe, the rest of myself, and know, hear the return message of it is given. This is given. You asked, and so it is. And then I can focus there in the eternal perpetuity of that desire, the experience, the fulfillment of that desire, knowing it never does end. Because I don't want it to. And it is that simple. Not only do I not want it to end, I never want it to end. You see, the desire doesn't shift, it doesn't change. The desire never wavers. I have that clarity now as well. I already felt that, but I want more. I wanted more definition. This gives me that. The awareness that I feel this love forevermore. Always. That it doesn't go away. That it doesn't change. That this is my desire, and it doesn't shift. It's set in its course. How good it feels to feel that, to know that with clarity. I am so grateful for that. I am basking in that. Absolutely. To know the certainty and the eternity of this desire itself, and then the fulfillment portion. Oh, I am blessed. Oh, I am blessed beyond compare. So it is.